Today we get a visit from the man behind the wheel of Liberty Hockey, the guy with all the solutions, Kirk Handy. Well, Kirk, even though you're 8 minutes late, I'm glad you stopped by and have coffee with me. Tell me this, how did this young guy from Huntsville, Ontario come down to Liberty and play hockey when really the hockey program at that time was not, it was a speck on the map?
Yeah, it's a wild story. I was just telling someone about it last night, actually. I was going to a church up in 2 hours north of Toronto, and a friend of mine from our church, he was down here at Liberty. His name was Bill Anderson. He's actually a pastor at our church now, and he said, hey, Liberty's got a hockey program, you should look into it. And at that point, I touched base with Dr. Habermas, who was a coach at that point, and we just kind of connected from there, and kind of the rest is history.
I know you as this cool and collected guy that's just pretty chill, but you get behind the bench sometimes, Kirk, and you get a little wound up at the refs here the last couple of years. Where's this fire coming from?
I don't know. I ask myself that too all the time, where they come from, but honestly, it's just a passion for the game, right? I love the game, and I'm real competitive, and I want our team to succeed. And sometimes, when you feel like the calls aren't going the way that you are, sometimes if you get in their ear a little bit, the calls tend to change a little bit, or at least they hear and understand you. I think sometimes my wife later on will kind of say, oh, you probably should have been a little more, had made more of a diplomatic approach with them, but.
You ever thought about going into preaching, the fire and brimstone kind of pastor? It looks like you might have a, pretty good opportunity at that.
You think so?
I think.
Okay. Youth pastor?
Yeah, there you go. A couple years back, not a lot of people probably know this, but you had an accident. I think at a time somebody was worried that, you might pass away from it. It was really serious. How did that change you as a man, but also like as a coach?
Well, it was 4 years ago this fall, and we were out on the four-wheelers, hit a tree, and really, I'll tell you what, after it, I was unconscious. After I heard the story, I was unconscious in the bush for a while, and they were able to get me back out and stuff. And you know what? I don't think I really appreciated all that God saved me and spared me from, even not only from death, but even from paralysis or from physical limitations I might have had. Other than that, I walked away. I had a major surgery on the side of my face. Everyone thinks it's a hockey injury, but it's a four-wheeling. I was very thankful. But I think it gave me a new perspective on what I was doing as a coach. And one of the things I think I really changed my focus on maybe in the last 5-6 years was finding stronger ways that I can mentor these guys on our team. And before, that was always my heartbeat, and I truly believe that that's who I am at the core, right? Is someone who wants to be a great example for these young men, but also wants to challenge them and wants to see them grow as young men. And so I think after that accident, I think that's one of the things that really got my attention as well. I had three kids at the time, and my wife was expecting her fourth one, and so it makes you rethink all of that. Important elements too of my life and my family and different things like that as well.
In the old days of hockey, it was you do what you were told, right? As a coach, you said skate 5 laps or cut this way on a breakout pass, and they're like, okay, yeah, we'll do. But now it's modern players like why? They want to know why. Right. How much more difficult is it to coach now than it was like 10 years ago?
It does take a lot more time. That's the thing I've noticed. I mean, it takes a whole lot more time now than it did, because you are right, players would just kind of do as they were told back, 17 years ago when I was starting. But you know what? If you can connect with them, I don't think it's a good connection for them to be a more effective player on the ice. It really helps you connect with them off the ice if they know that you're approachable, if they know that they can come talk to you about problems on and off the ice. It really allows you to be set up in a really good spot to try and make a big difference in their life.
As a Liberty coach, is there a time where you're like, this kid's really good. He can help our program. He wants to come here, but I'm not sure he's the right guy to be here.
Yeah, and we have done that. We've done that. We've had to learn from that over the years. Some work out and some don't. And the ones that work out are honestly some of the most rewarding guys you ever work with, because they make such a radical change in their life. But there are guys who come to Liberty and just say, hey, look, it's not for me. And to be quite honest with you, Rett, that's okay. It's better for us and for them. Those are tough calls to make, though. I think one of the things that we've tried to do in the last 3 to 5 years is develop strong relationships with Hockey Ministries International, as well as Fellowship of Christian Athletes. And we have 2 really good connections there that they know what type of players we're looking for. They're looking for the same guys to be part of what they're doing as well. And and they're the eyes and ears for us out there, along with some of the other connections we have. So that's allowed us to help to bring in some pretty quality young men.
Well, Kirk, always fun talking to you.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming by.
You got it, anytime. Thank you.